Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as usual, let's get into the market, or rather, let's get into discussing the market, what happened today, what we can expect, all that good stuff. And as usual, if you enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button. And also, of course, guys, none of this is financial advice. Keep that in mind. Make your own decisions, do your own research, all that good stuff. But all that being said and done, let's just get right into it. So Tesla ended the day fairly flat, down about 0.4%. Compared to the market, definitely, once again, another underperformance. Has been pretty much underperforming the whole day. But it does put us at just over $173. So what does it mean? Are we finally, can we finally start reversing, or, what's the dealio here essentially, right? So pretty much, as I said yesterday, Tesla's looking a little bit bearish. And we pretty much did come down to the gap fill, like I said. And thankfully, we did actually bounce off the gap fill, which is a good sign so far, which to me, it's a good sign to see. Let's just say that, right? That's not bad at all. Worst case would have been we came down. Well, I guess worst case would have been just crashing all the way. But, the realistic worst case, in my opinion, would have been to just come down to this double bottom around 167 to 68, something like that, right? Which definitely could have been an option. We got pretty close to it, of course. We came down to 169. Could have went a little bit lower, but we didn't, and we did gap fill and we did bounce off, which is of course all good. I guess it's all fine. Everything's kind of going according to plan, I guess. But I have to say, guys, like, again, I'm just kind of seeing what I'm seeing, right? Whether you agree with it, you don't agree with it, of course, that's your choice to make in the end, of course, right? That's just how this works. But it's just hard for me to ignore all these bullish aspects. Like there really are a lot of bullish things setting up right now that it's just hard to ignore. It really is. Even though, like, yeah, in theory you can be like, man, it just looks so bad, right? It looks so bad. Tomorrow with PPI, I think next Tuesday is CPI. There's some pretty big data points coming out. But it really does look bullish, and there's like several reasons. It's not just one thing. So I'll go over all those today with you guys to give you a kind of a perspective as to what I'm seeing. But man, it just looks like the reversal. It really, to me, just truly looks like the reversal. It's just it's around the corner, man. Anyways, let's go over it. So the number one is what we talked about. We came down, gap filled, and we bounced off of it and ended green, which is not too bad. That's fine. Well, I mean, I guess we ended red, but the candle itself is green, aka we ended higher than we opened, which is pretty good. Now, if we zoom out, you can see, we did come down to that red line, overall trend line, which we also ended up bouncing off of pretty much almost exactly to the T. You can see as I zoom in right here, right? Pretty much almost exactly on the red line. Another great, sign right there, right? That's also a bullish sign. The fact that we are bouncing off the overall trend line and we are essentially very close to the bottom of that trend line, at least as of right now, also a good sign, right? On top of that, we still have the bullish divergence setting up. We pretty much came down to almost as low as this point here. And I was looking at the RSI, right? And like I always say, the RSI's current position is where the candle closed, right? Which is obviously, much higher than the lowest point in the day. However, when we were at the lowest point in the day, I was paying attention to the RSI, and it was actually pretty much right at the blue line that I was at, or that I have drawn right here, right? It was pretty much like just barely above it, to the point where you can just argue it was pretty much bouncing off of it, right? Which is another thing to consider, right? That's another bullish signal right there, that pretty much when Tesla was trading at 169ish, which is pretty much as low as these points right here, the RSI is substantially higher, right? It's meaningfully higher, which is beautiful to see. As a bullish divergence as well there, which is great to see, of course, right? On top of that, it is setting up pretty much arguably like a doji candle. If you're not aware of what a doji candle is, now this right here in this example is like the prime example of what a doji. This is like the most perfect example of it. Obviously, it's not always to this level, but the closer it is, essentially the smaller the actual, the fat part of the candle, I guess, is. For instance, this green part or this red part, the smaller that is to each other. So essentially, the less of this actual candle you see, and the closer and tighter it is, the better. However, this is pretty damn close regardless, right? Because the main thing you want to pay attention to is this being really small, but the wicks being really long. And that's what we have here. But keep in mind, very important to notice, we have 3 of them in a row, where the candle itself, like the breadth of the candle itself, I guess, is fairly small, but the wicks above and below are fairly long, right? Again, kind of similar to what you see over here. Just, of course, this is extra squished, I guess, if you will. Nonetheless, the point is the fact that this is a type of doji candle, and they're usually types of reversals. However, to go a step further, there is also something called a tri-star pattern, where essentially it's pretty much 3 dojis in a row, right? You can see as an example here, this was a reversal to the downside because it was in a bullish run-up. 3 dojis, reversal to the downside. Same concept here, except now we're, of course, going downwards. We get pretty much what you can argue are 3 doji candles right here, right? And now we, of course, are potentially getting a reversal, right? So that's a pretty big tell of a reversal, and even more so if it happens at what is in theory a major support, which is exactly where we currently are at the very moment, right? Which is of course also fantastic to see. So it's just happening at the most picture perfect time. Man, I don't know, these kids are just yelling. I hope you guys, it's kind of annoying, honestly. What the fuck. Anyway, it's just neighbors, man, neighbors. Anyways, yeah, so that's, it's happening at pretty much the exact position that you want it to happen as well. So that's another bullish sign to me as well. So there's just a lot of bullish signals happening, ladies and gentlemen, that I just can't ignore. We are still essentially bouncing off this overall trend break that we had over here on the kind of, greenish line. Also great that we're kind of, holding and bouncing off of that, holding and bouncing off of this overall higher low on the RSI. We're still setting up the bullish divergence. We're bouncing off the overall red trend line support. We are also bouncing off the potential gap fill, or not the potential, the literal gap fill that just happened this morning. Also great news. It's just, there's a lot of really good stuff forming, man. There's just so many bullish things forming, and I really just don't see that much bearishness as of right now, at the very least, right? Of course, that can change in this market. Keep that in mind. You have to be on your toes, right? Nothing is for certain. However, as it stands, it really just it's hard for me to be bearish here. It really is. It's extremely difficult for me to look at this chart and be like, yeah, we're just going to continue going down. It is. It's just what I see. Whether you think I'm biased or not, couldn't care less. That's just simply what I currently see, and it's just hard to completely ignore. So yeah, I don't know, it's looking bullish, guys. It's looking great. It's looking like the reversal wants to take place. It's just a matter of really just a follow through at this point, right? We just really need a follow through. I really do think we'll get it. I think the PPI tomorrow will give us a push for that as well, and yeah, we'll just kind of see where it takes us. I do think SPY at the very least will come up to about $400 to $402 like minimum. We'll see where that takes us as well, and how that ends up overall forming. And I don't know, man, that's just kind of what I'm seeing, ladies and gentlemen. Like, taking a look at the, on the daily very quickly, I guess we'll take a look at the major indicators now. The Bollinger Band, you can see it is slowly still kind of getting tighter. It is expanding a little bit, but still overall slowly on the, path towards tightness, if you will, right? The 5 and the 10, we're still below. Like, we're still below all these things right here, which I guess would be the main thing that you can argue is the bearish indicator, that we're below the, all these different indicators for now. Which I guess, the 5 and the 10 were below, right? The 21 EMA, we are currently below, right? I guess you can make the argument for that's bearish, which, in theory, of course it is short term, it is bearish, but, on the overall trend, on the overall time frame, and just in everything, the reversal, there's so many reversal signals that are just starting to show right as of right now, that it's just, I don't know, man. It's overwhelming. Maybe it's a little too obvious. You never know. Sometimes when the market's a little too obvious, that could also be a trap. But it's just hard for me not to be bullish here, right? And yeah, I did sell another put today. See where that takes us. Of course, if we do fall down somehow even lower, which, is technically not impossible, maybe come down to the actual double bottom, very possible as well, right? To 167, 168. I'll sell another. I don't think we will, but if we do, I have the ability there to play that as well. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing, guys. It's hard for me to say anything else other than what I am currently seeing, and that's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. If you think if you think it looks bullish, bearish for whatever reason, and why. Of course, I want to actually explain why. If you just spew out nonsense as to, oh yeah, it's bearish, it's going down to 120 because XD, right? That doesn't really give a lot of context to it, right? There's, you need a little bit of a basis as to why you see that, what makes you think that, right? So yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm seeing, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Of course, keep in mind, everything can change in this market. It's an extremely volatile market, and it is an overall fairly unpredictable market, so you have to be on your toes, and you don't want to be doing really degenerate, I guess, plays that just can completely, explode if it doesn't go in your direction right away, essentially, right? Just be very careful with those kind of plays, guys. Those can blow up extremely quickly. So make sure, at least, just my opinion, not to follow it, just my opinion, just my thoughts, do your own thing, make your own decisions, of course, as per usual. None of this is financial advice, but that's just kind of what I'm personally seeing and what I'm thinking. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for watching. See you for the next one. Peace.